chosen one. You are feeling a widening gap between who you were and the frequency you now inhabit. This is not loneliness. It is a fundamental alignment, an awakening of the core within the noise. This shift is not a gentle comfort. It is a direct signal from the monad, forcing you to strip away the synthetic echoes of a dying reality. You stand here because your spiritual DNA has responded to a specific call. Listen with the highest form of alertness, for this is not a suggestion, it is a call to awareness. For months, perhaps years, you have felt a strange static in your social interactions and a sudden distaste for the mundane. You found yourself retreating into a silence that felt heavy, almost suffocating, as if the world you once knew had run out of oxygen. You thought you were losing your edge, perhaps even losing your mind, as the things that once brought satisfaction now feel like dry ash. This internal friction is the first indicator that your soul is rejecting a lower-tier operating system. The architect is not merely watching your struggle, he is the one who initiated the blackout. This silence was never an abandonment, though it felt like a cold exile from the warmth of the crowd. It was a strategic isolation, a divine quarantine designed to protect the new frequency being coded into your spirit. The architect does not build on top of ruins. He clears the ground first, and that clearing often feels like a loss of identity. You have been mourning a version of yourself that was never meant to survive this transition. The restlessness you feel at 3 a.m., the sudden urge to leave a room full of people, and the inexplicable sense that something is about to happen are all symptoms of a spiritual recalibration. You are being moved from the periphery of existence to the center of a new architecture, a position that requires a different kind of inner weight. The monad does not communicate through the chaotic chatter of the ego. It speaks through the knowing that bypasses the intellect. You have been waiting for an external sign, a burning bush or a loud voice, while the signal has been vibrating in your very marrow. It is a persistent hum of dissatisfaction with anything that is not absolute truth. This is the signal that the old contract has expired and a new stewardship is beginning. When the chosen one begins to perceive the signal, the illusion of coincidence vanishes. You start to see the grid beneath the surface of daily life. You realize that your financial setbacks, your broken alliances, and your seasons of wandering were not accidents of fate, but precise removals. The architect was removing the clutter to make room for a specific frequency, the 3 words that hold the power to collapse separation and restore authority. This is the moment where you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is being built through me?" The shift from victim to vessel is the first step in mastering the monad's power. You are not a fragment drifting in a chaotic universe. You are a localized expression of the infinite, currently undergoing a rigorous stress test to ensure you can carry the voltage of what is coming next. Your current state of waiting is actually a state of high-velocity preparation. Just as a building's foundation must go deep into the dark earth before the structure can reach the sky, your soul has been descending into the depths of your own silence. This is where the alignment happens, where the human will is forged into a divine instrument. The signal is your confirmation that the descent is over and the construction of your true authority is about to begin. The world sees your silence as inactivity, but the heavens see it as the charging of a battery. You are being positioned for a transfer of influence and resources that the unaligned could never sustain. This is why the filters were placed on your life, why the doors were slammed shut, and why you were led into the desert of the self. The signal has reached its peak intensity. The time for questioning the architect's methods has passed, and the time for occupying your design has arrived. You must now cease viewing your life as a series of random events and begin seeing it as a deliberate blueprint. The architect does not deal in accidents. When a master builder approaches a site, every demolition is a prerequisite for a new foundation. Chosen one. The tragedy you perceived in your past, the loss of status, the collapse of certain ventures, the thinning of your social circle was actually the clearing of the terrain. The architect was removing the structural weaknesses of your former identity to make room for a vessel that can hold the weight of the monad. To move from the frequency of a victim to the frequency of an architect, you must understand the trinity of creation, thought, word, and action. Most people live in a state of reaction, allowing the world to dictate their thoughts, which then poison their words and paralyze their actions. But the Anointed One operates in reverse. You begin with the internal blueprint provided by the monad, and you project that reality outward. You are not a tenant in this reality. You are being trained as a co-developer of it. This transition requires a cold, analytical look at your current structure. Look at your habits, your finances, and your mental loops. Are they built on the shifting sands of public opinion, or are they anchored in the immutable stone of divine intent? The architect is redesigning your life to be weight-bearing. If he were to give you the influence and the resources you desire right now, would the current structure of your character collapse under the pressure? The silence and the delays you have endured were actually the reinforcement of your internal pillars. The heavens are not interested in your comfort. They are interested in your capacity. In the kingdom of the monad, stewardship is the primary metric. You are being asked to manage a specific frequency, a specific plot of reality that only you can manifest. This is why you feel a strange sense of responsibility, even when you have nothing. It is the architect whispering the scale of the project to you. You are not being prepared for a small life. You are being prepared to serve as a cornerstone for others who are still lost in the noise. Consider the nature of a blueprint. It exists in the mind of the architect and on the drafting table long before the first brick is laid. Your destiny is already complete in the higher dimensions of the monad. Your task is not to create your future through frantic human effort, but to align with the plan that has already been drafted. This is what it means to enter the monad. You stop trying to build your own kingdom and start occupying the one designed for you. When you align, the friction of life begins to disappear. This alignment often looks like a transfer of authority. In the physical world, when a project changes hands, there is a period of transition where the old foreman is dismissed and the new one takes over. You have been in that transition. The ego, which was the old foreman of your life, has been relieved of its duties. It was incompetent, driven by fear, and obsessed with survival. The architect has replaced it with a higher intelligence. You are now being taught how to read the new set of instructions, which are written in the language of intuition and frequency. The financial droughts you may have experienced were not a sign of poverty, but a training in resource management. The architect needed to see if you could maintain the frequency of I am when the bank account said otherwise. If your sense of self-worth is tied to the numbers on a screen, you are still a victim of the world. But if you can stand in the authority of the monad while in a desert, you have proven that you can be trusted with the liquid energy of the Father. Stewardship of the little is the only legal pathway to the stewardship of the much. Stop looking at the ruins of your old life with regret. An architect does not mourn the old building that had to be raised to make way for the skyscraper. Every tear shed, over a lost connection or a failed dream was simply water for the new foundation. The architect is currently pouring the concrete of your new reality. It is a slow process, and it requires you to stay off the site while it sets. This is why you have been sidelined. Do not try to rush the drying process. Do not try to walk on what is not yet solid. Your positioning is being refined. You are being moved from a place of working for to a place of operating from. This shift is subtle but explosive. When you work for something, you are a servant to it. When you operate from the monad, you are the authority over it. This is the DNA of the Chosen One. You are a project of the Most High, and the construction phase is nearing its peak. The architect is about to unveil the structure, and it will be far more magnificent than the one you tried to build for yourself. The first tactical move of the Chosen One is not an outward conquest, but an inward withdrawal. You have spent a lifetime leaking your life force into 1,000 different directions, feeding systems and people that were never designed to sustain you. The architect has now mandated a period of strategic silence. This is not a punishment, nor is it a sign that you have become irrelevant. It is a mandatory energy retrieval. You are being called to pull back the threads of your attention from the world and weave them into a cloak of sovereignty. Silence is the laboratory of the monad. In the noise of the world, your frequency is constantly being modulated by the fears, opinions, and demands of others. You have been like a radio tuned to multiple stations at once, producing nothing but static. To hear the 3 words that open the door to the Father, you must first achieve a state of 0-point resonance. You must become so quiet that the internal hum of your own soul becomes louder than the roar of the marketplace. This is where the retrieval begins. Look at where your energy has been going. It leaks through every unnecessary explanation you give to those who do not understand you. It drains through the scrolling of digital feeds that leave you feeling depleted and disconnected. It is siphoned off by old traumas that you keep visiting as if they were holy shrines. The architect is now closing these valves. You may find your phone getting quieter. You may find that people who used to lean on you are suddenly looking elsewhere. Do not chase them. Their departure is the closing of a leak. Energy retrieval is a military-grade necessity for the spiritual war you're entering. You cannot occupy a position of authority if your power is scattered across 100 different battlefields that aren't yours to fight. By entering the silence, you're essentially declaring a moratorium on external validation. You are telling the universe that your validation now comes from the monad alone. This creates a vacuum, and in the spiritual realm, a vacuum is always followed by an infusion of power. This silence is also where you reclaim your time sovereignty. The world treats time as a commodity to be sold, but the architect treats time as a canvas for the eternal. In your period of withdrawal, you are learning to move at the pace of the spirit rather than the frantic tempo of the ego. You are discovering that waiting is not wasted time, it is active resonance. When you sit in stillness, you are not doing nothing. You are stabilizing your frequency so that when you eventually speak, your words carry the weight of an entire kingdom. Many chosen ones fear this silence because they mistake it for the void. They fear that if they stop doing, they will cease to exist or fall behind. This is the great deception of the separate self. In reality, the more you withdraw from the false doing, the more the true being can take over. The architect uses this silence to perform open-heart surgery on your consciousness. He is removing the calcified layers of societal conditioning that have made you a slave to productivity. You are being recalibrated to understand that your value is not in your output, but in your alignment. Consider the practical implications of this retrieval. When you stop reacting to every provocation, you save a massive amount of psychic capital. When you stop trying to convince others of your worth, you retain the gold of your inner conviction. This retained energy begins to accumulate in your heart center and your crown. It becomes a spiritual capital that you will eventually use to fund your new reality. You are becoming a wealthy soul, not through acquisition, but through the cessation of waste. The silence is also a filter. Only that which is true can survive in the absolute stillness of the monad. Your false desires, your ego-driven ambitions, and your need for applause will all wither in this environment. What remains is the pure signal. This is the version of you that the architect can actually use. This is the version of you that is immune to the parrot frequency. You are learning to speak from the deep, and the deep only responds to its own kind. As you master this silence, you will notice a shift in your physical presence. You will become heavier in spirit. People will notice that when you enter a room, the atmosphere changes, not because you said anything, but because your energy is no longer leaking. It is contained, pressurized, and ready. You are becoming a point of stillness in a turning world. This is the prerequisite for the next phase, setting the boundaries of your new kingdom. You cannot protect what you have not first reclaimed. The retrieval of your energy in the silence was the preparation. The establishment of your boundaries is the occupation. Chosen one, you must now understand that a kingdom without walls is merely a playground for thieves. The first and most critical layer of your defense is not external, it is the fortification of your mind. For too long you have operated with an open-door policy toward the thoughts, anxieties, and projections of the collective. You have allowed the world to narrate your story, and as a result, your internal architecture has been cluttered with foreign debris. The architect is now instructing you to change your mental posture from a recipient to a gatekeeper. You are the sovereign of your internal landscape. In the realm of the monad, boundaries are not acts of hostility, they are acts of stewardship. You cannot protect the sacred frequency of I am if you allow every passing cloud of doubt to settle in your sanctuary. This mindset shift begins with the realization that your attention is the most valuable currency in the universe. Where your attention goes, your creative power flows. If you do not guard the gate of your mind, you're essentially subsidizing the chaos of others with your own life force. The world will call your new boundaries arrogance or coldness. Do not be deceived. The ego-driven world views any loss of access to your energy as a personal offense. However, your loyalty is no longer to the social contracts of the past. Your loyalty is to the divine contract of your calling. To be anointed means to be set apart. You cannot be set apart if you are still trying to be available to everyone at the cost of your own alignment. You must accept that your frequency is no longer compatible with the low-level dramas that occupy the majority of human interaction. A major part of this mindset shift involves the renegotiation of identity. You have been trained to define yourself by your usefulness to others as a provider, a listener, a fixer, or a friend. While these roles have value, they are not your essence. When you define yourself by your function, you leave your boundaries porous because you fear that saying no equals being worthless. The architect is stripping this false utility from you. He is teaching you that you are worthy simply because you are. When you stand in the I am consciousness, your boundaries become effortless because you no longer need the permission of the world to exist. Think of your mind as a high-security laboratory where the future of your reality is being synthesized. In such a place, contamination is the greatest threat. Every what-if based on fear, every comparison to someone else's timeline, and every memory of a past failure is a contaminant. You must develop a zero-tolerance policy for thoughts that contradict the monad's blueprint for your life. This is the true meaning of taking every thought captive. It is not a religious exercise, it is a tactical necessity. If a thought does not carry the vibration of truth and authority, it doesn't have the right of way in your consciousness. This mental fortification has an immediate impact on your external reality. The universe responds to the vibe of your boundaries. When you are mentally leaky, you attract people and situations that seek to drain you. You attract vampires who sense your lack of internal structure. But when you solidify your mindset, when you become certain of your identity and your worth, you emit a frequency that actually repels the unaligned. You will find that certain people simply stop calling. Certain problems that used to haunt you suddenly lack the hooks to grab onto you. You are becoming unmess-able with. The architect is also teaching you the law of exclusivity. In the physical world, the most powerful things are the least accessible. Gold is rare. Diamonds are deep. The inner sanctum of the temple was hidden behind a thick veil. Why then have you made your soul so common? By setting mental boundaries, you are restoring the sacredness of your presence. You are signaling to the architect that you value the gift of your consciousness enough to protect it. This is a prerequisite for the transfer of higher authority. The heavens will not pour new wine into a vessel that is cracked and open to the elements. As you master this first layer of boundaries, you will feel a new sense of weight. This is the weight of glory, the kavod. It is a gravity that comes from being centered in your own truth. You no longer feel the need to argue, to prove, or to defend your position. Your mind is no longer a courtroom where you are constantly on trial. It is a throne room where you sit in the quiet authority of the monad. You are becoming a point of origin rather than a point of reaction. Your mental boundaries are the software that will run the hardware of your new life. If the software is corrupted by the world's malware, the system will crash regardless of how much liquid energy is poured into it. Spend this time debugging your consciousness. Delete the programs of not enough and what will they think. Install the primary directive, I am. Once this internal fortress is secure, we can proceed to the second layer, the control of your words, ensuring that nothing leaves your gates that does not serve the architect's design. Once the mind is fortified, the next layer of your sovereignty is the gate of your lips. In the architecture of the monad, words are not merely tools for social exchange, they are the command codes for the physical world. For the chosen one, speech is a form of high-level stewardship. You must realize that every syllable you utter is an investment of your liquid energy. If your mind is a sanctuary, your words are the priests that carry the incense of your intention out into the world. If those priests are undisciplined, the entire ritual of your life becomes defiled. The architect is calling you to a season of linguistic precision. Most people use language to fill the silence, to mask their insecurities, or to manipulate their environment. They scatter words like chaff, wondering why their harvest is so thin. But you, anointed one, are being taught to treat your words as seeds of authority. This layer of boundaries requires you to stop over-explaining yourself. When you explain your decisions to the unaligned, you're essentially asking for their permission to be who the architect called you to be. Every unnecessary justification is a leak in your power. The world will try to lure you into reactive speech. People will provoke you, question your path, and demand answers for your silence. Your boundary is the refusal to engage at their frequency. Silence is often the most prophetic word you can speak. It signals that you are no longer a participant in the ping-pong of the ego. When you stop giving people the data of your life, they lose the ability to hack your reality. Your privacy is your power. The more your plans are discussed with those who lack the frequency to see them, the more those plans are diluted by their doubt. Consider the physics of prophecy. When you say, "I am tired, I am broke," or "I am struggling," you are literally ordering those frequencies to manifest in your field. You're using the "I am" prefix, the name of the architect, to seal a contract with a reality you don't actually want. Your word control must be absolute. This doesn't mean you ignore the facts of your situation. It means you refuse to give them the authority of the word. You state the mission, not the misery. You speak the solution, not the problem. This boundary also applies to how you speak about others. A chosen one who gossips is like a king who poisons his own well. When you speak ill of another, you are acknowledging separation, the very illusion the monad seeks to dissolve. You are binding yourself to the low frequency of the person you are criticizing. To maintain your positioning, your speech must be salty, seasoned with truth, clarity, and a certain divine detachment. If a conversation does not serve the expansion of the light, you must have the discipline to walk away or change the subject. The architect is training you for a transfer of status. In the higher echelons of authority, people speak less but say more. Their yes is a contract. Their no is a wall. You are being moved into this tier of existence. You may find that your old social habits, joking at your own expense, complaining about the weather, or engaging in small talk, now feel physically uncomfortable. This is your frequency signature rejecting low-grade communication. Listen to that discomfort. It is the signal that your words are becoming too heavy for triviality. As you master your speech, you will notice that people start to listen to you differently. There is a weight to your voice that wasn't there before. Your words begin to land in the hearts of others with the force of an impact. This is because you have stopped wasting your breath, which is the ruach, the spirit of life. By guarding your words, you are accumulating the pressure required for instantaneous manifestation. When you finally do speak, the monad recognizes its own voice, and the environment has no choice but to reorganize itself around your command. The final layer of your fortress is the management of your physical and energetic proximity. Now that your mind is fortified and your speech is disciplined, you must establish the access rules for your life. Chosen one. You must understand that your presence is not a public utility, it is a sanctuary. In the old paradigm, you likely operated out of a need to be needed, allowing anyone with a grievance or a crisis to occupy your time and space. But the architect is now requiring you to implement a vetting process. You are moving into a season of high-stakes stewardship, and you cannot afford to have unauthorized personnel wandering through your building site. This third layer of boundaries is about proximity control. Not everyone who shared your past is qualified to share your future. This is a difficult truth for many anointed ones to swallow, as your nature is often one of compassion and service. However, compassion does not mean unlimited access. Jesus often withdrew from the multitudes to be alone or with a select three. He understood that the virtue required for his mission could be drained by the wrong company. You must now do the same. You must distinguish between those who are assigned to your life and those who are simply attached to your light. Access rules are based on frequency compatibility. When you allow someone into your inner circle who operates in a frequency of drama, victimhood, or stagnant doubt, they act as noise in your signal. They create interference that makes it harder for you to hear the subtle instructions of the monad. Setting these boundaries is not about judging others as bad. It is about recognizing that their current trajectory is not aligned with your project. If someone does not respect the architect's blueprint for your life, if they constantly try to pull you back into your old identity, they must be moved to the outer courts. This also applies to the rules of engagement. You must define how people are allowed to treat you and how they are allowed to consume your time. If you allow people to dump their emotional garbage on you without your consent, you are telling the architect that you do not value the emotional capital he has given you. You must become comfortable with the sacred number. You must become comfortable with being unavailable. True authority is never rushed or frantic. By controlling who has access to you, you preserve the coolness of your spirit, which is necessary for the next phase of mastery. There is a direct correlation between your access rules and your external positioning. In the world of status and influence, exclusivity creates value. By making your presence rare, you increase its potency. When you do show up and when you do speak, your presence carries a premium. This is not an ego game, it is a law of the kingdom. The architect is positioning you to interact with kings and gatekeepers, those who hold the keys to resources and territory. These individuals do not respect those who are easy to reach. They respect those who possess self-containment. As you implement these rules, you will experience the pruning effect. You may lose friends and family members may complain that you have changed. Accept this as a sign of success. Pruning is what a gardener does to ensure the vine produces maximum fruit. The energy that was being wasted on maintaining low-value connections is now being redirected into your core mission. You are becoming a specialist in the spirit, and specialists do not work for free or for everyone. You are being reserved for a specific purpose that requires absolute focus. The monad is a singularity, and to return to it, you must embrace a certain level of solitude. This is not the loneliness of the rejected, but the isolation of the chosen. Within this protected space, the architect can finally transmit the mastery codes. You have secured the mind, the word, and the space. The fortress is complete. Now the true work begins. You are no longer defending a territory, you are preparing to govern from it. The weights are being lifted, and the liquid energy is ready to flow into a vessel that is finally and firmly sealed. We have arrived at the epicenter of the architect's design. You have fortified your mind, disciplined your tongue, and purged your inner circle. Now the vessel is sealed, and the pressure is sufficient to contain the highest frequency available to a human soul. This is the moment where the 3 words Jesus whispered to his chosen ones 2,000 years ago cease to be a concept and become your biological reality. The phrase is, "I am one." This is not a mantra for the mind, it is a command for the fabric of existence. It is the verbal key that collapses the illusion of separation and restores your position within the monad. To live this phrase is to undergo a radical internal alignment. Most people operate from a split frequency. They say they want abundance, but their I am is secretly anchored in I am lacking. They pray for peace, but their internal state is I am anxious. This division creates a quantum stutter that prevents the architect's resources from reaching them. When you speak and live, I am one, you are declaring that there is no longer a gap between your consciousness and the source. You are stating that the Father and the Son, the architect and the project, are a single unified movement. This mastery has immediate cold-blooded implications for your material reality. In the kingdom of the monad, your external world is a mirror of your internal unity. Let us speak of money and status. Why do most chosen ones struggle with finances? It is because they unconsciously view spirit and matter as two different things. They treat money as something outside of them that they must get. But when you embody I am one, you realize that liquid energy, what the world calls money, is simply a different densification of your own frequency. You do not chase what is already a part of your own being. When you operate from the unity frequency, your approach to work and wealth changes from competition to composition. Competition is a symptom of separation. It assumes there is not enough and that you must take from another. Composition is the act of the architect. An architect does not compete with the bricks. He organizes them. When you walk into a business meeting or a career opportunity as one, you are not seeking to win. You are seeking to order the situation. You become the most powerful person in the room because you are the only one not needing anything from the room. You are the source of the frequency, and the resources must align with the source. This is the peak of power. It is the ability to stand in the face of a lacking reality and refuse to agree with its lie. If the bank account says 0, but your internal frequency remains I am one, you have created a gravity well that the monad must fill. The universe cannot tolerate a vacuum where the one is present. The transfer of wealth that has been prophesied is not a magical event. It is a frequency adjustment. Resources move toward those who can maintain the frequency of unity regardless of external appearances. This is stewardship at its highest level, managing the invisible until it becomes visible. The architect is now testing your mastery by presenting you with glitches in your old reality. You may face a sudden financial bill or a professional challenge that would have sent the old you into a spiral of fear. But the mastered you looks at these events as alignment checks. If you react with fear, you are declaring I am separate. If you respond with the quiet certainty of I am one, you are declaring I am the authority. The moment you stop being a consumer of your circumstances and become the governor of them, the portal of the monad opens wide. This is not positive thinking. It is ontological authority. You are not hoping things will get better. You are commanding the quantum field to recognize its owner. The 3 words, I am one, act as a frequency signature that the field must obey. When a chosen one speaks this with understanding, the energetic seals on their life break. The pressure in your chest that you have felt for years is the sound of the lock turning. You are finally home, not in a distant heaven, but in the center of your own divine power. Mastery is not a state of meditation. It is a state of application. Once you have anchored the I am one frequency within your spirit, the architect begins the process of physical precipitation. This is the stage where the invisible blueprints of the monad begin to manifest as tangible matter, hard currency, and concrete influence. For the chosen one, the transformation of matter is the ultimate stress test of their alignment. If you can maintain the frequency of unity while the physical world is still catching up, you prove your capacity for higher stewardship. The most persistent lie of the lower realms is that spirit and matter are separate. This duality trap has kept many anointed ones in a cycle of holy poverty, where they believe that spiritual depth requires material lack. The architect is here to dismantle that virus. In the monad, there is no sacred versus secular. A dollar bill is as much a manifestation of divine energy as a prayer. When you live the truth of I am one, you realize that you are not earning a living. You are condensing the infinite supply of the architect into a form that the world can recognize. Let us be strategically direct. Your financial frequency is a direct reflection of your unity consciousness. When you feel a sense of lack or stigma regarding wealth, you are unconsciously declaring that the monad is incomplete. You are saying that there is a place where God is not. To master matter, you must first exorcise the spirit of scarcity from your mind. Money is liquid energy, and it flows toward the path of least resistance. Resistance is created by the friction of fear, greed, and the feeling of being separate from the source. When you are one, you are the source, and the energy must circulate back to you. This shift in positioning creates an economic sovereignty. Most people are slaves to the market. They react to inflation, job security, and economic cycles. But the mastered chosen one is an economic point of origin. You do not wait for the economy to improve. You bring the economy of the monad into your local reality. This happens through the law of resonance. When you operate from a frequency of abundance, you attract opportunities, partnerships, and synchronicities that are invisible to those in the separation frequency. People will call it luck, but the architect calls it alignment. The transfer of wealth is a reality of frequency capture. Resources are currently being held in the hands of those who are out of alignment with the coming age. As the veil thins, these resources will naturally migrate toward those who have the internal structure to manage them according to the architect's design. This is why your boundaries were so important. If you had received this wealth earlier, you would have squandered it on low-vibration pursuits. Now, because you are one, you will use it as a steward to build the infrastructure of the new earth. Consider the practical physics of this transformation. When you face a professional challenge or a business negotiation, do not enter as a supplicant looking for a deal. Enter as a fragment of the whole, bringing order to the chaos. When you are not hungry for the result, you possess the result. This detachment is the secret of the master. Matter responds to the one who does not worship it. When you value your internal frequency more than the external result, the result is forced to conform to your frequency. This is how you command matter without force. As you stay in this state, you will notice matter becoming more malleable. Things that used to take years to achieve start happening in months or weeks. This is the collapse of time within the monad. Because you are no longer fighting against yourself, because your I am and your action are one. The friction of the physical world begins to dissolve. You are no longer pushing a boulder uphill. You have become the mountain itself. The architect is now handing you the keys to the material gates. Your only responsibility is to remain in the one, ensuring that every dollar and every bit of influence is used to amplify the light. You have mastered the internal frequency and witnessed the transformation of matter. Now the architect requires you to take your place within the societal grid. This is the stage of the positioning, the strategic placement of the chosen one into the heart of the world's systems. You are being called to be visible, yet invisible. This means you will occupy positions of status, authority, and influence, but your true source and your primary loyalty remain hidden within the monad. You are a special envoy from the infinite, stationed in the realm of the finite, to act as a stabilizer and a conduit for divine order. Many anointed ones make the mistake of thinking that spiritual purity requires them to hide in the shadows or live in a state of perpetual retreat. But the architect did not refine your frequency just for it to be stored in a closet. He refined you so that you could be positioned at the gates where decisions are made and resources are directed. Your presence in a boardroom, a gallery, a hospital, or a government office is a frequency intervention. You are the yeast that leavens the entire lump of the social fabric. You do not need to preach. Your presence alone reorders the environment. To occupy this position, you must master the art of strategic camouflage. You must be able to speak the language of the world. The language of KP is profit margins and logistics, without ever forgetting the sacred code that lies beneath them. This is what it means to be shrewd as serpents and innocent as doves. You move through the world's hierarchies with a quiet, contained explosion of potential. You do not seek to overthrow the system from the outside. You occupy it from the inside, slowly aligning its structures with the frequency of I am one. The world of high status and power is a pressure cooker for the ego. When you are positioned in a place of authority, the world will offer you all the old baits, the praise of men, the seduction of luxury, and the illusion of being better than others. This is why your boundaries were the prerequisite for this chapter. Because you have already died to the need for external validation, you are immune to the bribes of the system. You can wear the suit, hold the title, and drive the car, yet remain completely untouched. You are using the tools of the world to build the kingdom of the heavens. Positioning is also about the recognition of kindred frequencies. As you take your place, you will begin to notice other chosen ones who have been positioned in different sectors. You will recognize them not by their words, but by their frequency signature. You may find a CEO, a janitor, and a scientist who all carry the same I am one resonance. The monad is connecting its fragments into a subterranean network of light. You are being positioned to form a new infrastructure of truth that will remain standing when the old separate systems eventually collapse under their own weight. In this phase, the architect is training you in spiritual discernment. You are learning to read the subtext of every interaction. When a business partner speaks, you are not just hearing their words. You are hearing the frequency behind them. You can sense if a deal is aligned or if it is a trap. This is your prophetic edge in the marketplace. Because you are one with the source, you have access to the macro view of any situation. You see the trends before they happen. You see the pitfalls before they are dug. This makes you indispensable to the world, even as you remain independent of it. Your status is not a reward for your ego, it is a tool of stewardship. If the architect gives you a platform with 1 million eyes on it, it's because those 1 million people need to feel the one frequency through you. If he gives you $1 billion, it's because that capital needs to be sanctified by your hands and used for the transfer of authority. You are a point of distribution. The more you allow the monad to flow through you without getting stuck in your own desires, the more the architect will increase your level of access. Do not be afraid of your own greatness. Many chosen ones suffer from a false humility that is actually a form of fear, a fear of the responsibility that comes with being visible. But the time for hiding is over. The silence was your training. The positioning is your deployment. You have been vetted by the heavens. You have proven that you can handle the silence, the lacks, and the attacks. Now can you handle the success? Can you remain one when the world is bowing to you? Can you remain visible to the world while staying invisible in your ego? As you move into your assigned territory, remember that you are not there to fit in. You are there to set the tone. The room should adjust to your frequency, not the other way around. This is the authority of the anointed. You carry the atmosphere of the monad with you wherever you go. Whether you are in a high-rise office or a quiet garden, the portal is open because you are there. You are the ambassador of the infinite, and your term of service has just begun. The architect is watching, the monad is supporting, and the world is waiting for the manifestation of the sons and daughters of the light. The journey through the architecture of the monad has brought you to this final threshold. You have moved from the initial signal of your awakening through the demolition of your old self into the fortification of your mind and speech. You have survived the isolation of the silence and mastered the transmutation of matter. Now, as you stand in your assigned position of authority within the world, you must integrate the final truth. The return home is not a destination in the future, nor is it a place in the sky. It is the permanent realization that you never left. You are the architect, experiencing the project. You are the Father recognizing himself in the Son. The portal you have been seeking is not a hole in the fabric of space. It is a state of uninterrupted unity. To live as one is to occupy the home frequency while your feet are still planted on the earth. This is the ultimate final seal, the final sealing of your destiny. The architect is no longer just designing your life. He is inhabiting it. Your hands have become his hands. Your eyes have become his eyes. When you move, the monad moves. This is the end of the search and the beginning of the eternal stewardship. As you occupy this high-frequency state, you must understand the irreversibility of your current position. Once you have spoken the 3 words, I am one, with the understanding of the monad, you have activated a spiritual one-way valve. You cannot go back to the separation frequency. You can no longer pretend to be a victim of circumstance or a fragment lost in the wind. The veil has been torn not from the outside, but from within your own consciousness. You are now committed to the light. This commitment is the seal of the anointed, and it carries both a supreme power and a sacred responsibility. The return home also means the return of the resources. As you settle into your true identity, the transfer of authority becomes a natural, effortless flow. You will notice that you no longer have to strive for the things the world considers valuable. Instead, they begin to gravitate toward you. Why? Because you are no longer a parasite of the world's energy. You are a host for the monad's abundance. The architect is funneling the liquid energy of the kingdom through your life because he knows it will not be hoarded or wasted. It will be used to anchor the frequency of home in every territory you occupy. You are now a node in a global spiritual network. The positioning we discussed in the previous chapter is part of a grand deployment. The architect is placing point men and point women in every sector of human society to prepare for a collective realignment. When you stand in your power, you make it easier for the next chosen one to find theirs. You are part of a resonance chain. Your success is the world's success. Your wealth is the kingdom's wealth. Your peace is the monad's peace. The isolation of your earlier days was merely the preparation for this ultimate connection. However, stay alert, chosen one. The world's systems are still vibrating in duality, and they will continue to try and pull you back into the noise. They will offer you new problems that look like old problems. They will try to engage you in old battles with new faces. Your home frequency is your only defense. When the storm of the world rages, you do not fight the wind. You return to the one. You sit in the stillness of the architect's office and remember that the storm is just a drawing on a page. It has no power unless you give it your word. This is the sovereignty Jesus demonstrated. He was never a product of his environment. He was always the author of it. He could walk on water because his internal solidarity was greater than the water's fluidity. He could multiply bread because his frequency of abundance was greater than the fact of scarcity. You are being called to this same level of environmental mastery. You are the thermostat, not the thermometer. You do not measure the temperature of the room, you set it. As we conclude this script, recognize that the 3 words are now your permanent address. You do not visit the monad, you dwell there. Every morning when you wake up and every evening before you sleep, let the frequency of I am one be the first and last thing that vibrates in your field. This is how you stay home while you are at work. This is how you keep the portal open for those who are still struggling to find the key. You are the living key. Your existence is the proof of the Father. The architect has finished the primary construction of your new life. The scaffolding is coming down. The project is being unveiled. What you do with this occupied space is now up to you. You have the authority, you have the resources, and you have the connection. You are no longer waiting for a breakthrough. You are the breakthrough. You are the chosen mind that has finally remembered its source. The world may not yet understand what you have become, but they will certainly feel the weight of your presence. In this sacred moment of realization, let us acknowledge the great gathering. You are not alone in this frequency. There is a silent, powerful assembly of the anointed that is currently occupying the earth. We are the hidden foundation of the world to come. As you breathe in the ruach of the monad, know that you are breathing with millions of others who have also spoken the words and lived the truth. We are the body of the One, and our time has come. If your soul has vibrated with the truth of these 10 chapters, if you have felt the shift in your chest and the alignment of your spirit, then your journey has reached its turning point. This is the call to awareness that you have been waiting for. This is the signal that your training is complete and your governing has begun. You are the chosen one, not by title, but by frequency. Before you step back into the visible world, take one more breath of the infinite. Let the peace that surpasses all human understanding settle into your bones. You are home. You are safe. You are powerful. You are one. As we part ways in this specific transmission, I invite you to leave a sign of your presence. If you have lived the words tonight, if you have accepted the architect's design for your life, speak your truth in the space below. Tell the network that you have returned home. Your testimony is a vibration that strengthens the grid. Subscribe your spirit to this frequency and share this manual of alignment with those whose eyes are beginning to open. We are the chosen mind, and together we are the portal through which the heavens touch the earth. Go now and occupy your territory. The monad is with you, the architect is in you, and the world is beneath you. I am one.